Why, hello. It's great to be with you today, and I am actually scraping off the paint somebody put over top of this magnificent pot my grandma Audrey made, and so I am uncovering it this morning, and I'm going to put the spider plant my girlfriend Chantel gave me, thank you. And so that's kind of what I'm doing this morning, and I realized I should have, as a YouTuber, got this video done so that you could have seen it before, midway through, and then you'll get to see it in its after effect. But the point is that right now, today, I am unmasking, unveiling a pot that I think is amazing. I think that the colors in this are spectacular. I think that it's a great expression of the green heart chakra energies and the blue self-expression energies, and I just think it's spectacular. And then this brown color, which I think is my dad's. I have never been one for brown or beige or anything neutral because, like, I'm extreme and I like extreme things, you know? And so it's interesting because this was out in the place where things are kept that are not being used. And so I'm just trying to get the final little touches of paint off before then I use the potting soil I got to be able to actually make this a beautiful home for the spider plant that I'm going to put in there, which is a really good air purifier. And it's really important to have plants that are air purifiers in your space as well, so that way you really have the support of what's in your space actually contributing to what will be beneficial rather than hindering or harming you, as so many things in our environment tend to do. And even in the aftermath too, there's a cleanup phase. Like when you go through a healing process, please understand that, like, when a rocket ship takes off, there is a period of turbulence when you're quite nervous around whether it's going to work and you don't quite know. And then it's like you get left off and it's like, woo, brilliant, amazing, yes. And so that's kind of how it goes. You can get excited, you can get scared, but did you know that the body actually registers both the same way, excitement and fear? Within the body, it basically just feels the fear, whichever one you're able to get out, and then it goes near there. It goes down that rabbit hole. And what I was having a conversation this morning about that is so significant is about rabbit holes. Or I was having the conversation last night, actually, but I don't feel like I slept very long, so I got more sleep than what some do. And, like, dear God, sleep is really what is required, because ultimately that's when our body detoxes. So all of the chemicals and hormones and everything that we've had going through our body during the day that we've been up, or the duration of period of time that we've been up, all of that is coursing through our body. And then when we go to sleep, our cells actually then start detoxing that which isn't good for it or meant to be in it. And so sleep is such an important part of the healing process. And what I want to say for those who may be going through the transformation of self-image or going through a major life transition that leads to the transformation of your self-image, either by choice or by force, I would love to simply remind you that you must do what is required to scrape the paint off of your former self-image as to what you believed was possible. You must start uncovering the natural beauty that is deep down within, underneath of that layer of paint, that mask that layer of pretending to be something other than what you actually are, all that, underneath of it is beauty, magnificence. This pot was one of my favorites, and then I didn't know that it had gotten painted until I think I discovered it last time, and it was just like, oh, I'll have to scrape that off. And I was so grateful when the paint peeled easy, because this was cooked in a kiln, K-I-L-N. That's what you call a kiln. And we had tobacco kilns. We still do. We have bulk kilns on the farm here. We just call them kills, so you don't necessarily pronounce the N, it's silent. But the kills are how you cure tobacco, which was what we did on this farm. Or you can cure a great variety of many things in order to create the crop or harvest that then gets, you strip tobacco off the plant, is why they call it that, and then you have to then sort through the leaves and then grade them. So you put them into their categories of like quality. So it's kind of like in school when you go through the segregation or the gradation process of smartness. But did you know there was actually a science experiment, social experiment maybe, where basically these teachers were actually given a list of names of children that were really intelligent and at the top of the spectrum, and then you had the ones that were not. And so basically they were told what these children's capabilities were on a piece of paper ahead of time. And then what they found was that the ones that they had rated higher were ultimately higher performing students. They did better. And the children that were placed in the lower spectrum, they had a lesser experience and lower grades, and all of those factors really seemed to be like a self-fulfilling prophecy, except for else it could just might have maybe been proper evaluation, you might say. But here's the thing. We teach people how to treat us. We also do that because of how we treat ourselves, what we are willing to tolerate, what we are willing to accept. And if we are willing to accept playing small for the sake of others, fitting in, pretending to have opinions other than what are authentically ours for the sake of belonging, that has historically, instinctually been how we survived, indeed. But now, it still will be, except if we try to conform and go along with this mainstream narrative, then you're going to get to experience further steps of what was laid out in the Rockefeller Report from 2010. If you have not read that, please, I recommend you understand the fact that all of this was planned. It is not a pandemic, it is a pandemic. It was written for us because that's how black magic works. They have to tell us what they're doing in order to say that we deserved everything that we got. And so it was not the fact that we got deceived, but it was the fact that we did nothing about it that was our downfall. The story would go if we did not decide, yo, I ain't gonna mask no more, I'm gonna take it off. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to try to rap in this moment because this video is too good and the paint is so near off that it's just delightful as I uncover what I'm going to use practically, which is what we must do with the tools that we gain access to. The special practice is a formula, essentially, that I have developed in order to make it easier to remember how to care for yourself on a multi-dimensional level. So I know that sounds like a really big concept, and to some people say, like, Laura, and I apologize, and I'm sorry not sorry, as Demi Lovato says, who has really struggled with a lot of mental health issues, and eating disorders, particularly trying to control her environment through her food in order to feel powerful when she was not feeling empowered. And I also, growing up, had eating disorders. And so, like, I was bulimic at from grade 11 until, like, second year high school, or maybe even, no, not second year high school, second year university. I think I actually was until after I graduated in, like, 2009. And then it was just like, no, you're not going to hurt yourself like this anymore. And even though you have this impulsive component to yourself that makes you want to be gluttonous and then not want to have to pay for the consequences of being gluttonous, you have to now just fully commit to wearing what you choose to consume if you are going to be gluttonous, and no more will you be able to get rid of it on the spot, so to speak. And, or not on the spot, but generally in a discreet environment afterwards. And like, I have stories of like sneaking away in order to like punish myself, you know what I mean? It's just like, why? Like, my parents would be absolutely devastated, and will be, maybe. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. Genuinely. Sorry, me. Sorry, my brother. One time he caught me in the bathroom, and he was watching TV, and I was in the bathroom, and he, like, came and he's just like, "Are you getting sick in there?" And he was really upset with me, and then he's just like, "If you ever do that again, if I ever catch you again, I will tell on you." And it was just like, "Thank you for not." And then it was just like, I never had to deal with my shit other than when I was willing to deal with my shit. And I have dealt with a lot of my own shit, let me tell you. I just said that at 11:44. There's something about fours. I keep on seeing that pattern in the last couple days. So interesting. And ones too, but notably the fours. So here is where I say to you, what does this mean to you? What does this mean for you? What will you do with it? Do you take notes? If so, why? If not, why not? I would love to know more of your story. I would love to understand who you are, why you show up, what you get out of watching these, what you wish I would talk about. 12:22, I say that too. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. 2 is what we start with when we are whole. And break into a twin flame who has a separate vessel and a flame that burns alone. And yet when they unite, it's true, they burn a little bright. It is true, so you are asked to dare to blaze whole and to become the noble gas partner, so you can partner with another who's done the inner work, so they can be whole too. Bruce Lipton talks about it in The Honeymoon Effect. He uses the example of a chemical compound. I went slower so I could figure out what I was gonna say. Now let's get back. A chemical compound begins with 2 chemicals before their dysfunction completes the other, until the dysfunction in each of them starts to annoy the other one. It's true, we must all begin to learn acceptance of self and other. It's true, if you're willing to love yourself even when it doesn't seem that on. So I live for that and hope that you will one day think of me when I am no longer there in the moment of your need. It's true that if I wasn't there, you'd have to do it for yourself. So if I can help you prepare for that moment when you're alone, that's when you become a noble gas partner who learns to respect themselves so they can respect the one they match with. Not online, not on Tinder, not where you can swipe left or right, but where you actually fight for the right to stand free, to stand tall. It is the dating scene of Cone video game. I changed it on a dime. That's because I'm a 1010 87 model. What's your model, I say, when I want to know someone's age? They often chuckle and say ha 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 ha. But why not? It's more fun than asking how old are you? How many times have you been here for the sun to rotate 365 degrees? Days, not degrees, but it's true, it brings you round circle. That's a lot. I never thought of that before this moment. But hey, if you just keep on playing and working while you do it, because you know what you're moving towards, that's the importance of knowing why. You gotta know your why. Why are you doing what you're doing and how? That's on the inner ring before you get to the why. You have to move through what, and then that's where you get to how. Who, what, where, when, why, and how are you going to get there? The questions we ask determine the quality of our lives. I got no script here and I didn't prepare, as you can see. I simply went out to get this pot so I could replant the spider plant after taking the garbage out and doing dishes. It's true, I want to start out on a brand new foot. Today is the last mastermind group before the launch of album 22. I am so excited to be able to do what we're doing and to gather such incredible people. I have interviewed several of them. Now it is true that you can do whatever you want to if you own ladies' side to try, to try. Please try, please try. Be willing to be so vulnerable as to not know what you're going to say when you're middle of the song. And if you leave a word out, let that be okay. Judge yourself not anyway. You are the one you've been waiting for. It's true, you are. I love you and hope that you will let yourself do what you need to do and say you tried because you dared to give it all that you had. That's the most that you can ask, and the least too in a way. If they say That's the best that I got, and you know that that is not the truth. It's frustrating, and yet there is nothing you can do if you won't agree to be your authentic self. If you need to mask yourself and paint over the truth. If you need to paint over the truth, I don't understand why we gotta hide things that are not comfortable. I have not shared part of my own story because I did not want to share the story others would hate me for. So I have not, and it cost a lot when I did not speak my truth. And yet now I say to you, do not be aloof from the Celestine prophecy. You should read that one. I'd say it's a top read for you to understand the fact that we are all we need if only we're willing to unite, to link arms and say, I hope you have a good day. That is about all I got. I just do not know how long you want to stay with me, and so I want to end it early. This is good enough. Enough is as good as a feast. I did a play on that, and you never said tay. I hope you will sing to someone who looks to you. That was fun. There's a big mess to clean up now, and that's okay. I did the flowers while I was at it, so. Much love. I hope you enjoyed the song and the experience of uncovering the pot that was originally this color and then got caught in the desires of someone else and now has been returned and restored to its original nature. Divinity at its finest. Lord J. Namaste. Namago. Toodaloo.